More casual football fans might not have paid too much attention to the German third division, but a quick glance at the clubs in this league should reveal some very familiar names. There have been a couple of bigger sleeping giants in this league recently. Teams like Dresden and Rostock have managed to get out, but bigger teams like Magdeburg, Kaiserslautern, 1860 Munich and Eintracht Braunschweig have all managed to remain in the league for a couple of seasons. I'll be giving you a very brief summary of each team's history as we're going through on this video, and also look at their FIFA squads, letting you know what kind of challenge you'll have in your save, some objectives to try, and I'll be telling you why you should compete as them in your next FIFA save. The first team is probably the team with the most dramatic recent change of fortunes on this video. Compared to the other two teams on this list, Kaiserslautern have actually had some recent success. They won the Bundesliga title in 1991 and 1998, which led to them competing in Europe, where they actually managed to reach the UEFA Cup semi-final twice and the Champions League quarter-final in 1999. The size of this club is reflected in their 50,000-seat stadium, something that can only be matched in the entire world by Sunderland, who themselves play in a 49,000-seat stadium. Kaiserslautern most recently played in the Bundesliga back in 2012. They got relegated and narrowly missed out on returning the season after, but they fell more and more and were eventually relegated to the third division in 2018. There are one or two things that you'll notice on FIFA that do give a glimpse into Kaiserslautern's more successful recent history. The most obvious is their transfer budget, which is a decent size but still lower than what you'd expect for a club with this level of infrastructure. This is due to the recent financial issues, but you can still strengthen pretty well with a budget of £645,000 or €750,000. The Red Devils actually start off with the second best squad in the league, playing a pretty interesting 3-1-4-2 formation that contains some familiar names in Felix Goetze and Terence Boyd. But that's no doubt your objective is going to be winning the league in your first season. You have the squad to do it, you've got the reputation to sign some pretty good players, and with some wheeling and dealing, you can easily put out a team that's good enough to win most matches. The best area of the squad is definitely at centre-back. Tomiak, Goetze and Senga all have potential to play at least one league higher than they do now, and with dynamic potential you can probably take them all the way to the top. You have these three all being centre-backs, all good enough to grow with the club, as well as a good young goalkeeper in Mathieu Raab, so you're going to be mainly aiming to strengthen at the striker position. Getting even a single fast striker in this position would mean that you can easily score 20 to 30 more goals in a league that features a lot of very tall but very slow defenders. The objective with Kaiserslautern has to be winning a third Bundesliga, and their first one for 23 years. So why not see if you can do this, qualify for Europe, and see if you can get further in the Europa League or the Champions League like they did back in the 90s. For a club this successful to fall this far this fast is almost unheard of, so why not see if you can rise to the top just as fast as they fell in the first place. 1860 Munich are another club that have good history winning the Bundesliga. While their victory might have been longer ago compared to Kaiserslautern, in 1966 Munich managed to win their first and currently only title. Despite only having one, they do still have a huge amount of history. Between 1994 and 2004, they spent 10 years in a row in the Bundesliga and decided to move into the same stadium as their city rivals Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. It turned out to be a big mistake. With 1860 losing Bundesliga status the year after, they quickly ran into financial issues and had to sell their half of the stadium to Bayern Munich, instead paying rent on the ground every single season. Things got worse and worse, and in 2017, their Jordanian investor refused to pay for a league license, forcing the German Football Association to relegate Munich to the 4th division. And they got promoted at the first time of asking, and that's where they've been ever since, and that's why you can find them in the 3rd division on FIFA 22. While they might not be at the Allianz anymore, they do still have a decent team and a pretty good budget for this level on FIFA 22. In fact, their team is the best on average in the entire league, thanks mainly to a very strong midfield and a reliance on proven players in both defence and attack. Philipp Steinhardt is their talisman, with the left back being in charge of almost every single set piece, while also having an incredible physical and mental stats to go up and down the wing all day. You're probably going to be building your team around him, and this is good because the team isn't actually blessed with that much potential. They do have a number of young players who have really good FIFA stats. Eric Talig and Merivale Biancadi at centre midfield will both play way above their overall ratings, thanks to both having really good agility, balance and strength stats. And any formation that has both Lex and Bar up front will score a decent amount of goals. Of course, the challenge here isn't really going to be based around titles or winning competitions because they don't have too much history of doing either. Instead, it's about being the biggest team in their region. The first team you'll have to overcome is fellow Munich team Turgucu, who are also in the 3rd division. Once you get promoted, you also probably will have Ingolstadt and Regensburg, who are both in the 2nd division, and eventually, of course, Bayern Munich and Augsburg, both in the top flight. If you're looking for a challenge while doing the save, why not see how many Bavarian footballers you can sign with 1860? Bavaria is one of those regions that's very proud of its heritage, a bit like Texas in America or Yorkshire in England. It's also home to thousands of very good footballers, so I'm sure you'll be able to find at least 11 good enough for the Bundesliga who would love to play for a city in their home region. With all their issues they've had in the past, I do think 1860 Munich deserve to be your next save. If you're interested in rebuilding a team from one of Germany's favourite areas, then why not go for 1860, because I think they really do deserve it. Last but not least, I'm going to recommend you have a look into Eintracht Braunschweig. Braunschweig are very similar to 1860 Munich, given that most of their success came back in the 1960s. Braunschweig were an almost ever-present in the Bundesliga from 1904 when the league began, all the way until the middle of the 1980s. A lot of their history came before the Bundesliga was formalised, but they did manage to win it in 1967. They've also played in Europe a number of times, getting to the 3rd round of both the Europa League and the Champions League. As with most clubs that have a decline of this level, it was caused by serious financial issues. The issues culminated in 2008 when the team was in serious danger of not even qualifying to play in the 3rd division. Thankfully though, they did manage to get the money and they have started to recover, including a spell back in the Bundesliga as recently as 2014. This appearance only lasted for a single year, and by 2021 they had been relegated twice and were back in the 3rd division. A quick look at the Braunschweig squad reveals that they have a very athletic and quick set of players, something that of course is very useful in FIFA career mode. Play the classic 4-2-3-1 and you'll see that some of these players were definitely part of the team that was relegated from the 2nd division because they have way too much class to be 3rd division cloggers. A lot of the team is at a peak age, between the ages of 25 and 30. Because of this, the ability isn't actually too different from their potential, so most of the potential in the squad is actually on loan and not contracted permanently to the club. The 3 best young players are Luc Ihorst, Seb Müller and Jermaine Consbrook, who are all on loan from clubs higher up the pyramid. I would focus on using most of your £1 million transfer budget to try and sign some younger players who can progress as you go up the league, particularly on the wings, where Consbrook and Malthorpe aren't quite good enough to be in a promotion chasing team. Your main challenge really is to get back to the Bundesliga as fast as you possibly can, a league that Braunschweig have spent most of their existence in. In real life, the Lions find themselves 3rd, just 2 points behind 2nd place Kaiserslautern, with a significant gap ahead of 4th place 1860 Munich. In FIFA, I'm sure you can match, if not better, this position, thanks to the pacey squad you're given at the beginning of your save. I'm sure it won't take you too long to get Braunschweig back to the Bundesliga, given you're only 2 promotions away from the starting position. You'll have to invest wisely to prevent another financial meltdown, but if you do, I think the Lions are ready for the big time and hopefully you see some success on your FIFA career mode save. If you're lucky, you might even be playing your rivals Hanover in your 2nd season if you can get promoted and they have to stay in the 2nd Bundesliga. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Apologies if you're German, because I'm sure my pronunciation of almost every player and team is very, very wrong, as it usually is. But subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Suggest any teams you think that deserve videos like this as well in the comments below. Subscribe, as I said, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you very soon for another video very soon. Thank you, and goodbye.